And welcome back, folks. Happy to be talking to you guys for the second time tonight. We got Cardell Dudley Jr. here, Wilson Tarpey Jr. As you said to me, Cardell, before we got started, left the house, took in a W. It's a rare occurrence this year. That said, how do you feel they did in terms of checking the boxes that you laid out, during pregame?
I think they did a hell of a job. They executed on both ends of the floor, and that's necessary, especially defensively. Um, I mean, the bench to me that's what won the game. The bench just was dominant. Obviously, led by Bub and Trey. Bub coming off the bench and with 15, 4 and 4. Trey with 12. Will Riley with 8. Champagne 8 and 7. We figured he was going. Like I said, he gonna get you about 7+ boards a game. Count on it. All he needs is the minutes, and it was just a balanced attack, man. Keyshawn George had a hell of a game. Um, CJ and Bilal just had their way. You know what I mean? And Alex saw he didn't rebound the ball as much as I would expected him to. But he was solid with 15.7 to 9. It was just a balanced attack, and they came out and honestly just hit the Raptors. They hit the Raptors first. They ain't wait for the Raptors to hit them, and they just rode that momentum. And then just to see them where they held a team, a good team to 17 under 20 points in the quarter. It just speaks volumes, man. And again, it was led by their bench production. They had 18 points in the fourth. And that was led, led by it was committee, just everybody coming off the bench, just chipping in and stuff like that. And then on top of that, you look at the defensive rating for that quarter, 67.8 for Washington. Like that's locked down. Like you getting nothing. You don't get no shots, nothing. So, and their offensive rating was 142.2. So, yeah, they checked all the boxes, man. They did exactly what needed to be done, to win this game, and they disrupted the flow of the Raptors. I know I saw Brandon Ingram getting frustrated because you could tell he had a role, and you could tell he was about to just start cooking and will them to the win. And certain guards was calling different plays, and he was just getting frustrated, messing up the momentum, and you could just see some other stuff going there, but a big part of that was what the Washington was doing on both ends of the floor, man. So, and then holding Scotty Barnes to 14 points, keeping him off the boards. He had 7 assists, but his impact is usually far greater than that. And Emmanuel quickly with 25, 6 to 13. Outside of that, Jacoby Walter was annoying, but with the production of the Wizards bench, it didn't matter what he did. So, outside of those three, you didn't really get much from anybody else, man. And that's a testament to what the Wizards did defensively, man. So, and if it wasn't for the Raptors, going 25, 27, this loss would have, it's already a bad blowout loss because you lost by 20-something, but it would have been far worse. So, man, kudos to the Wizards, man. This is one of their better all-around performances of the season.
Yeah, I think one of the things that was apparent even earlier on, you talked about that's an outstanding number for any team, that defensive rating you shared in the fourth quarter. But I thought one of the things that was apparent early and we saw throughout the game and kept popping up was we know the Raptors were missing essentially a couple of their bigs. Washington's size throughout their lineup, it felt like that played a role in this game for all 4 quarters. You talked about the bench. How many times do we see their guard, whether it was Champagne, wing, whatever, Champagne, Bub, get the rebound, and they're out. Like they were hitting the glass as a group, and I just thought their size, like you said, they were able to frustrate a lot of the non-Ingram players on Toronto. Ingram, he's crafty. He has a bag. That is a scorer. He's comfortable in different scenarios. But the non-Ingram players, Washington's able to bother the hell out of Shed, some of the other smaller guys. They literally, I felt their size overwhelmed Toronto for much of the night. And you talk about the job they did on Scotty. I thought Bilal, I think he talked after the game, he talked about getting his rhythm back. I didn't even care. I know he had points offensively for me. I felt that was probably like probably the second best defensive game he had this year, where he looked like he was himself For all 4 quarters. Like I think one of the plays that I can't leave my mind is late in the game. I think it's in the fourth. Scotty Barnes has CJ want him in the post. Has him on a low block. I don't even know where Bilal came from, but he dug down immediately, and it wasn't just digging down. He dug down with a purpose. Took the ball out of there and raced down court. And I think he finished in transition, got the hoop and the harm or whatever. But digging down with a purpose like that, huge. Champagne did that a couple times, huge. And like you said with that second group, I love the way that Bub and Trey came, like their mentality coming off the bench. That group came in and they got straight to it. All of them, they got straight to it, and definitely appreciated that. Oh, you're on mute.
Yeah, it's just the fact that they look like they're just tired of being bullied by this team. This team usually just comes in, beat them up about 20 early in the fourth, and then they just go chill. Over the last few years since this rebuild started, and you can just tell that. And we all know the youngins, they competitive. They don't just lay down. You might beat them, but they're not gonna just lay down. That they're gonna fight. And like I said, I appreciate that they took the fight to them, and they starting to learn in the league. That's what you have to do. You can't wait to get hit. Oh, it's time to play. You know, good teams just gonna tell you, it's too talented. The league is too talented. So again, they starting to put together some wins as of late. Now, the next step is, can they put a streak together? Can they pile up wins? You know what I mean? And then, go from there.
And we'll find that out this weekend. So this is one of three. They got one again on Sunday and then again on Monday. So they got a chance to put something together. We'll see what that ends up looking like. I thought Keyshawn was really good in this one. I like that he went to the post, early and often in this one. The only thing, issue I have with Keyshawn all year, the silly fouls. Just please stop the silly fouls. You're too important to be off the floor. I get it, you're gonna get in foul trouble, but the reactionary fouls after you miss a shot or you feel you got hit, that ends up being take fouls. Like there's 5 fouls and like 3 of them were just silly fouls that weren't needed, and you had 23. If you're on the floor, you probably have 30 tonight. Um, if you're not in foul trouble, and there's been several games like that this year where he's gotten going, but ends up saddled to the bench at different times. Uh, but what's up on the screen? Who'd you have?
Hmm. That's tough. I mean, I might have to go with Bilal for just what you said, for everything that he brought. Not just the defensive versatility, but the 21 points, 8 rebounds. I know the assists weren't there, but he was running a little point forward at times as well, man. But he was all over the place, and yeah, and he had to deal with the toughest matchups, Ingram and Barnes. He's switching between both of them most of the time. So yeah, I'm gonna have to give him the nod.
Yeah, that's literally the same reason I gave him the edge was what he had to deal with. And he put the fire out, whichever person he was on at the time. So, yeah, credit to him for that. It's a tall order. Um, and then he did it without being in foul trouble. Again, going back to not to pick on Keyshawn, but again, like, stay on the floor, brother. You need to stay on the floor. X factor for you tonight.
Trey Carrington. That's my X factor.
All right, cool. I had Bub Johnson, so it works out. Yeah, they came off the bench looking with blood in their eyes. I loved it. They were both hunting shots, and it never felt erratic or reckless,
Right.
and it was effective. So kudos to them, and they were competing on both ends of the floor. So definitely I don't have any fight back, any pushback there at all. Um, my biggest thing before we get out of here is just can we see can this be replicated or repeated come Sunday?
Right.
Or like I don't want this to be a one-off, and then it's back to what we've been seeing the majority of the season. So that's what I would like to see on Sunday. We'll find out in 48 hours. You had anything else you wanted to add?
No, sir.
All right, we appreciate y'all, and we'll see you guys Sunday evening.